Please allow me to introduce Ms. Anjali Khanna, who will be the moderator of panel discussion today. She with close to 30 years experience in HR, Anjali works as VP HR in Jaipuria Group of Educational Institution. Prior to this, she has worked for CMC Limited, Randstad India Limited, and Indian Express. A certified trainer and facilitator, she does a lot of workshops on improving employability quotient, developing sales acumen, business etiquette and interpersonal relations, and effective communications for corporate as well as educational institutions, along with programs on gender diversity, POSH, etc. She is life member of NHRD and Women of Substance and was awarded TOT 101 HR Minds for the year 2019 by World HRD Congress. I request all the speakers to be a part of this discussion. Even others who wish to put across their questions are welcome. The discussion will be on the topic expectations of corporate leaders from academia.
Yes. So thank you so much, Shritar, and thank you so much, Lucky, for giving me this opportunity. I'm actually going to present, before we really get into the discussion, my thoughts on which might contradict a little bit from what we just heard from Rajiv. We need to really understand, when we get into a discussion, what we need to really understand, there is a concept called 4 Ys and 1 H, right? So why, when, where, what, and how, right, Rajiv? I'm sure you agree with me.
Absolutely.
So first, I want to give you the background of what is the, what you have been sharing is typical of tier 1 institutions, and you have been giving examples mostly of IIMs, and your slides showed FMS and all, but the reality of the tier 2 and tier 3 institutions in our country is very, very different, right? And that is what I really thought I will share with you before I really get into the discussion. So we have about 97% of engineering graduates who want jobs in core engineering and software engineering setup, okay? And about only 5 of them have suitable skills to be employed, 5% of them, right? And only 7% of them can handle core functions. Now, what are these core functions? When we typically ask anybody, including the corporates, what they want is they should have the good communication skills, ability to multitask, understand the big picture, maybe have some concept clarity of their job skills, some practical exposure, and then can-do attitude, flexibility, punctuality, loyalty, all those T's that we can think of, whether it is academia or whether it is corporate. These are the things that we really name. We don't really, we really don't get into the depth of it. Now, when I talk of the practical situation of the academia, you're going to be shocked that we today have more than 1,000 plus universities in our country, 11,000 plus standalone institutions, and about 40,000 colleges who call themselves autonomous body. And now, if we really have to check the number of the grade or the A category institutions, those numbers are very, very less. Some IIMs and couple of institutions here and there, nothing beyond that. Now, getting in admissions in these is a Herculean task for everybody. You have those entrance exams and there are all sorts of things. Now, these institutions also expect the students to know before they join them. That is the practical challenge of what these students also go through. And so what has happened is in the process, large number of self-financed private institutions came into existence. Now, these institutions, some of them were affiliated to some university, some of them, and these universities were also not one of those world-class universities who affiliated them. So the expectation level of these universities were set up at those levels which have not modified over a period of time, right? So now in the process, these institutions, in fact, yesterday in my institution, there was NAC team which had come to inspect. And while they were discussing with us in their discussion more, when we were making presentations, they said, your college is very beautiful. You have an excellent infrastructure. Humne to madam ek dukaan mein bhi college kholte dekhe. These were their language that they used. So in the process, the regulatories that we are required to be there have somewhere got lost in the whole process, right? Now, what happened in this is that the promoters who opened these colleges have, what have they kept as their benchmarks is their own understanding, because they do not have much from, they are not people with typical academic background. And so there was a lot of compromise that started happening in the quality of students. Abhi, if I have opened, if I have invested in business, I would definitely want my returns, right? So when I need my returns, what will I do? If I can't sell my product in a mall, I will probably go to some shopping complex. And if I can't go to a shopping complex, I can't afford one, then I will go to those street markets and probably do whatever possible, or online marketing today's world, or create my small website and start selling my product. And this is exactly what these institutions also started doing. They invested huge on the infrastructure. Some of them have really invested way beyond their capacity on the infrastructure. Now, the desire to have those students was very, very high. So, to get those students, what will you do? Now, sitting in Delhi, I can't have all Delhiites coming to my college, because all of them would want to go to the IIMs or to the FMS or to the Delhi school or those couple of colleges here and there. So where do I go now? So I start getting into systems where I start getting students from tier 2, tier 3 cities, where they have studied in the vernacular languages. They really do not know language. There is nothing called confidence. There is nothing called public speaking onto which they have been exposed. The education sector, till such time it was commercialized, was seen as जो लिखा है syllabus में वो पढ़ा, starting from the mere pre-nursery times to higher education. And I totally agree with you on that aspect, that education sector is still evolving, has not been able to compete with the levels at which the corporates wanted them to. Now, coming to the next part, now the compromises were not just in the quality of the students, the compromises were also in the quality of faculty. The compromises were also made in pedagogy that was being used. So considering all these, so it's a huge vicious circle actually, wherein we have really caught ourselves, right? Now, where do we see ourselves today is the fact that there's this whole expectation of corporates when they come to campuses. And mind you, when I say this, I have myself been a campus recruiter from CMC and then subsequently from TCS too. And the fact that we go, and as TCS, I'm sure Gyanendra would like it, TCS recruits in hordes. So I went as a subsidiary of TCS with the thought that I will be recruiting three, four people from some campus, and I realized TCS so hires in 60s and 70s and nothing less than that from a campus. So that was a learning for me too. Now, we today at campuses have created a lot of systems, okay? But I will totally agree with you. They are nowhere close to what the colleges, the corporates want from us. We are nowhere close to that. And the reason for this is also the fact that the colleges are still driven by people who are largely academicians. Their exposure to corporates is only by virtue of the lectures, the sessions, or to which the people come, visit, address the students, and after they have addressed the student, they will spend about half an hour with the director and the dean, where they will give some gyan to the director and dean, and they will go. After that, I will not call you again, and you will not come back again. And that is the reason this gap is increasing. Now, why do we talk of campus, the expectations of corporate also, I would like to share. Now, if I go back 30 years, in fact, right now, Rajiv asked this question and I wrote back in my chat window here that as CMC, I was an organization which was strictly not into body shopping. I never had this till such time we became TCS. We were strictly not into body shopping at all. The concept of MATC, etc., was an introduction to people in CMC when TCS happened. So for us, we were like 1 year of after a candidate joins us is exclusively for training and development of that person. Now that is a different process that half of the people left before that 1 year got completed, or probably 60, 70% left. And we felt that, yes, we train them and then they go away, right? So, and as an organization also, we started compromising on the quality of the colleges we visited, because most of the people from these tier one colleges had aspirations to go abroad, study further, or probably find jobs abroad. And that's why I said it is a typical. Can somebody, can you please put yourself on mute? Thank you. Yeah. So the typical situation, this is actually a catch-22 situation, and we want the answer to that today. So before I come up with what my thoughts are, let me ask all of you as to what you are doing as corporates to bridge this gap between academia and the corporate. So I'll start with my favorite organization, TCS. Yeah, Gyan, I would want to hear from you.
Thank you, Anjali ma'am, and very candid and very practical inputs what you shared, and that's a reality. I totally agree with you on that part. So see, we are actually for us it's a need, right? It is a need because if we don't interact with academia the way we do, we will never have our quota of talent that or meet our appetite, as you say. So definitely, you are well aware of it. We have tie-ups with whole number of colleges across, more so in west and south than north and east, wherein uh, we identify a particular stream that we want to address in the final semester of a student, and we introduce those subjects, and we build that in curriculum, mutually agreed with the institution, to tell them that please include this, give them the required number of hours, and this is our expectation at the end of the graduation. And it happens that the student must be conversant in this kind of a knowledge. And we also assure them that once he acquires that, we will put him through the exit assessment to see how much of interest the student has shown and how much has he really gathered. And we will take him in the organization if he meets the requirement. So then what eventually happens is what Rajiv was initially saying, that your entire productivity cycle really gets accelerated.
Absolutely, absolutely, yes, yes.
Yeah.
And
That's
our billing of, see, when you start treating them as resources, which is absolutely correct in the new times. So for us, they are people who are sent or at the client side, they are deputed to the client. So every resource which is sitting on the bench is a cost that you're incurring. So one, of course, the current system is very different from what we had some years back, and I'm sure most of the organizations have evolved towards that. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Maybe you can. And I actually wanted to hear from you about the internal learning programs that TCS runs for freshers.
In fact, there are a whole lot of things, ma'am, and in interest of time, I will not be able to touch everything, but I just want to give a perspective on this. You see, this what has happened. There's a new thing which has been introduced in TCS, and you would have seen news. Is something called as NQT, right? National Qualified Test. So this entire concept of going to campuses and hiring in bulk, what used to happen, that has got democratized in a big way, thereby helping the organization in terms of increasing the catchment area. Now, globally, globally, a student can just enter into an NQT portal, register himself, and take assessment like a IIT assessment, and then he gets ranked in terms of what is his skill level, and he is put in a merit. And depending on where is he in that scale, his projects get decided, his compensation gets decided, his learning interventions get decided, and his initial training periods also get decided, right? Whole lot. And as Rajiv was mentioning initially, it may start from teaching a student how to write an email, right? To understanding that a student is already very well equipped in, say, artificial intelligence domain knowledge. Correct. So that is where he will be pegged and he'll be taken on. and whole lot of internal training programs at different levels to make sure that the people become as productive and as efficient as possible.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I've now moved to Bhupendraji. Bhupendraji, would you like to share your thoughts on this? I
Yes,
say, can just to add, I am really impressed with this NQT thought. That works very well, actually. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
so I have to make 2 points. Actually, this skill gap has not occurred overnight. This has some, past history. Few point already touched by ma'am. Earlier, there used to be very less college, and they were of a category called A or B at the most. Tier tie that need not be considered at that time. But as the industry grow and volume of recruitment has grown, so to meet that, government and ecosystem has evolved.
भास्कर भाई देख रहा था
Okay. After that, the quality is compromised because of the volume. That is the one thing. Second thing is the skill set needed by the industry has also drastically changed over the decades. Right now, volume hiring is happening only in IT or associated sector. Right. So because of these dynamics have changed, the need and hence for the gap, and to address this we need couple of things. We need to correct this. We need to correct the quality of the student who is entering to the stream. We need to correct the infrastructure which the student need to make it. It cannot be shop like madam talk about tier 3 college. I have seen they are literally do not have a quality faculty. They do not have what you call infrastructure at all. Even the student who goes to them are really not up to the mark. They don't know English at all. They only know vernacular language, and that too not very good at that at all. So these are the things which we need to address. These are bigger issues, right? And has to be handled at multiple levels. Academia need to take care of this, and some good regulator have to come into picture from government side. Could there support? That only probably this big problem can corporate cannot handle this load, right? They cannot. A lot of cost, as someone pointed out, 6 months to 12 months. Gandhian was talking about in that period, and a lot of cost is happening by corporate, and this is a drain into the in a bigger construct to the national cost. So it has to be somehow made correct at the various level. That is my thought.
Thank you so much. I now move to Chinmay. Chinmay, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, sure. Before I start and share my thoughts, I would like to second you, Ms. Khanna, on 2 points which you made. I remember you made a point yesterday that academia is run by academicians and who are really not that well connected with the corporate. And the second point that you made today was the transformation is required in the thought process, first of all, and then we can think about implementing it. So bang on. I mean, this is really bang on and true. As far as my organization is concerned, if I talk about as to how we go about recruiting freshers, we enter into tie-ups with, let's say, educational institutions so that we have a better control on the content part, rather than cribbing about educational institutions not falling in line as far as the content is concerned. So yes, we have signed an MOUs with educational institutions. Let's say, for example, ICMs, which are Institutes of Cooperatives Management. They are dotting every state of India. So we enter into MOU as far as the course curriculum is concerned, and then of course we take a test and recruit. Now, as Rajiv said, I guess most of the skill deficits are in the soft skills domain, the behavioral aspects. But paradoxically, if we, as Gyan shared, TCS is also like recruiting wholly and solely, primarily basis their hard skill sets, let's say the knowledge part. This is where the problem is. Of course, when I will be speaking on my topic, I'll be covering this particular issue as to how can we go about it. See, it is very easy to say that somebody learned something, but then where exactly is the problem? And this is where evaluation systems come into picture. I have not seen very many L&D professionals or HR practitioners talk about it. It is like axing the branch on which you are sitting. But then this is the need of the hour. Where is the gap? Is it in terms of learning? Is it in terms of transfer of the learning to the job? Or is it in terms of the behavioral aspects? So this is what I'm going to cover during my session. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wants to share? Bharvi?
Yeah. So I agree with all the speakers out here. The skills gap and the technical things and the corporates who should be involved. But I'll just talk about our experiences here. I've been into skilling of youth. We have done skilling of youth into paramedics, and we've been running programs for women leadership, wherein the component of mentoring helped a lot to all the women that we have mentored. We have also component of mentoring in the skilling of the youth that we did. So what I feel that if the component of mentoring is also attached along with internship, along with the soft skills training, then the youth of today would be job ready, and that's when the needs of the corporates would be met. Because unless and until the students are there in the real world, and they understand out of the experiences of the seniors as to how exactly the expectations are there from them, they will not be able to put their knowledge to the best use. So it's our experience we've seen in our mentoring programs, wherein we connect our women leaders, our employees, our youths to the mentors. They kind of shine out very differently than those who have not received such mentoring in their life. So I really stress on mentoring as one of the aspects that can be included in the skilling of the youth and in education.
Bang on, Bharvi. Very, very correct thoughts. Anyone else wants to share anything? Rajiv?
Yeah, for sure. Especially this mentoring part. I still remember one of the very so-called whatever you say, tier one or tier two, whatever tier that was, right? It used to be in tier one colleges charging more than 10 lakh for the MBA fees. That's what I know. Okay, and they invited for a session on mentoring the mentors, and in that they told me, Rajiv, every week we have one class of mentoring, 30-minute session on mentoring. Now, that's a beautiful criminalization of the word mentoring. That's a beautiful criminalization of the word mentoring by having a 30-minute session weekly on the mentoring part, right? But the point which was raised by Bhairavi, right? This is the need of the hour, right? We do not have the mentors, and I use a statement called कि हिंदुस्तान में कमी मिल्खा की नहीं है, उन सूबेदारों की है जो मिल्खा ढूंढ सके. हिंदुस्तान को सूबेदार की जरूरत है, और वो सूबेदार से मेंटर्स ही हो सकते हैं. वो सूबेदार हिंदुस्तान में बहुत कम है. मिल्खा करोड़ों पड़े हैं, सूबेदार नहीं मिलते जो मिल्खा ढूंढ सके. And coming back to some of the points, and all the points are valid. So there is no quick fix solution to this part. But again, maybe if you keep waiting for the government to take decision, I think it's already from last 20 plus years we have been hearing this gap part, and that's the one. And even after 20 years, if we are still hearing the gap, is it that somebody want to maintain the gap? What is NSDC doing? On every other day, we see huge numbers. So many million trained, so many million job ready. What are those numbers? Where is? Are we using the things properly? The things we are not. So the way I see is, maybe people want the gap to be maintained to run their shops. That's what I see it as, right? Because such a small problem, why it's lingering on from 2 decades? Is it really that big problem? It is not. There must be reasons for people to make it such a big. Go to every 5-star hotel and all the VCs coming on the platform discussing this, that, and then, oh yeah, talk coffee done, let's go back to the work. Why not beyond that? What after that? Right? So take the baby steps. This is not something that will change in a day or a month or a year. Right? We are habitual of seeing the quick fix solutions. Not everything is fast food, right? If we look for the longer horizon, we'll have the solutions in less than 2 years. We can change the entire ecosystem. And as we are already catering to the human resources need of the world, and India being the youngest nation, they can cater to the human resource requirement of the entire globe, provided we start addressing instead of waiting for the government to revamp the system. These are my thoughts. They may differ from others, but that's what my practical thoughts are.
Sure, thank you. Anyone else, or we can go ahead then?
Anjali ma'am, can I just add on?
Yes, please, Gyan. By all means, thank you.
See, there are 2-3 things I just want to share. I'm no specialist in this area. So first is to Dr. Chinmoy. See, it is not that when we do our hiring, we just disregard the HR part. It doesn't happen. So irrespective whether somebody goes through NQT or whatever, he does go through a HR round. So that is just a clarification on that.
NQT is only the eligibility test for the students to understand whether...
Basically, it is a domain assessment.
Okay.
Domain assessment. Right?
Okay.
Okay, yeah. So second is just a thought. See, we need to, I think, question whose responsibility is it to make a student job ready? Is it a responsibility of corporate? Is it a responsibility of academia? Is it a responsibility of school, or is it the responsibility of parents? Now, see, when we are discussing, we are saying the focus is on life skills, and the degree of difficulty in training a student on life skills is obviously more than a domain skill. It is very easy to teach somebody, MS Excel, give them a 3-month course, and I'm sure that can be taught. But life skills and foundation skills are a difficult part. So what is the role of schools, and can schools be brought into that umbrella? It's just a thought, right? And
very good point, Gyan. Very good point.
Good point, but I would like to add here that as far as my experience goes, certain schools have started implementing this. In fact, I've seen that there are life skills sessions happening every week for an hour for school students of age of class 4th, 6th, 4th, 5th, 6th. Those that level.
Let me correct you, Lucky. It starts from pre-primary sections today in our schools. Even a 3-year-old child, in the best possible way, are being trained for life skills.
That's wonderful. But again, the question here is that this must be for the tier 1 schools. True. But not the tier 2, maybe
correct.
Nothing at all.
I would just want to, Gyan, if you can complete what you were saying. Sorry, we interrupted you.
Sorry. I mean, that's just a thought, and you people have been working on this. You're specialists. You can touch on that. Because see, what I see, when you look at your own children, as parents, right, the kind of investment that you make in terms of time, effort in molding that personality, right? And I mean, that is where the priority should start. And last point that I have, not so much for academia, and what I feel is I've gone to a number of institutes for hiring, interview, talk here and there, whatever. I have never seen academia to be very proactive in either telling me that please come and take some session, educate, have an engagement with me for 3 months, 6 months. It's okay whether you call me or somebody else, but I don't think they're proactive enough, and that is very plain and blatant.
Yes, agreeing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what. Yeah,
sorry,
that's what I was pointing out when I talked about mentoring. Why can't there be a entire ecosystem, as Gyan, you were saying, that it starts right from the school, or whose responsibility it is, instead of putting that responsibility aspect. Why not everybody join the hands together and try to address the situation? Then I'm sure we'll reach somewhere. If not, right now we are not seeing any results, but at least we will see some small steps going forward in that area.
Absolutely.
Thank you. So I will just, just to
add
ahead. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. So in fact, the platform like ours, planmytrainings.com, and there are many others. I think a lot of work is happening around this aspect also, meeting those gaps. And in fact, in YouTube and everywhere, there is a lot of content on communication and various skills that students can go and learn, but it has not been organized in a well desired manner. So, in fact, we are also working on something in that line. So I would request everyone to join planmytrainings.com, help us formal, design things for meeting these kind of requirements. And in fact, we can together have a good solution to this problem.
Sure.
Lucky, I want to add what Anjali said. We need to focus to the tier 3 institutions, because they are in volume. They need to be uplifted
Yes.
from the current situation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'll just add a couple of things before I actually put it for conclusion. There's a lot of discussion that we've had about, and I will live up to my reputation of being a little candid over here, about what everybody should do. But if we just focus on what I should do as an individual, I think a lot of it will be taken care of. So this I factor is very important. Can I enroll myself as a mentor with any institution of my choice? Can I pick up a few students from this institution and volunteer to take care of them? I personally mentor about 4 of our students, from our second year batch. So what happens with them is, it is not that their life drastically changes. But one major thing that starts happening is that they see me struggle day in and day out. And when they see me struggle with my job profile, they understand what are the things that they have to do and what are the things that they don't have to do. And I am very, very open with them when I tell them that मैंने ये किया होता ना अगर आज से 20 साल पहले तो मुझे ये problem नहीं आती. या अगर if this institution or if this organization was working a little differently, there would not have been these problems. And I would like to tell you that it is not just me. We have ex-CHRO of IBM who is currently mentoring 3 of our students. Right? So that's the level at which if people come forward and volunteer, the students will definitely be changing. Okay. But I also feel that not just only talking from an institution point of view, one very important thing that we institutions don't do correctly is tell the students where the gap lies with them. When we bring them to the college on day one, they come over here in the institutions, and I think I feel very proud of the fact that Jaipuria and the likes of us today are already doing this for last couple of years. We do psychometric tests for them, and we do a lot of inventories on them to make them realize and give them a feedback, and a very, very candid feedback that, boss, this is what you need to, this is the gap between what the corporate will expect from you, and this is where you are right now. And we create a map for them, or a complete roadmap as to what are the trainings that they will be required to do. And well, we have weekly corporate sessions, but over and above that, there are, in fact, one of my colleagues is right here with me, but Dr. Vartika, she is doing a business communication program throughout the year in our colleges. So starting from the time the student enters, we start training the student to to be aware of. And we do a lot of sessions on which is called Know Your Customer. So about 400 of the companies which are listed with us today, we do sessions with our students telling them that what is this company like, and what is this industry like, and what are the key features of this industry. So what do you really need to know about them? Now, when we do this, in the process, the students have a reality check regularly. And by the time the campus placement begins, they are not expecting too much. And at the same time, the campuses have also supported us. Another thing that we have done is that we have a lot of academic councils that we create, right? Now, the work of this academic council is that they will have 1 or 2 representatives from our own faculty, along with a whole fleet of at least 5 to 6 people from the corporates, who tell us at the very, very basic level what are the changes that you are required to make in your curriculum. Now, some years back, I remember there was this issue about that while we do understand that the corporate needs this, but AICTE has set a curriculum which we can't change. And then we came up with this concept called think out of the books. So we do definitely teach what is required to be taught as per AICTE guidelines. But with the inputs being received from the likes of you people sitting here, the HR heads and the marketing heads of various organizations who actually tell us what is the skill gap between what is required and what is it that you're teaching. And mind you, this happens every year before the session begins, so that we can make appropriate changes in the curriculum for that year. And when we do all these things, the skill gap gradually starts reducing. We do a lot of, as I said, attitude part in the knowledge. We train them on their knowledge, skills, ability, behaviors. A lot of frequent industry interactions are there, definitely. But at the same time, we also connect our students to the industry forums. FICCI is very, very favorite of Jaipuria, for example. So any program that FICCI does, many of our students volunteer and go there and support. Now, this could look like, okay, they don't have those event companies sitting there, but the students of Jaipuria group would be found sitting there and assisting. So in the process, all the inhibitions that they have in coming up and speaking in open gradually reduce. And that is how our placements have improved. And I feel very proud of the fact that for the last 4 years, we have been able to produce 100% placements. And to answer to what Rajiv said, that 200-300%, I also would want you to understand, I'm sure the corporates are also prepared by now for this, because every student who gets placed, as a parent, I would always tell my child that जो पहला job मिलता है उसे ले लो, उसके बाद start improving. And corporates also are prepared for that when they come. Not that I advocate this, I do not definitely advocate this, but that is something which is inevitable. We can't get away from this, right? And now what we have also been encouraging our students with is the fact that when we send them for their summer internship programs, we talk to our corporates and we really encourage them to pick up students through the PPO. When you pick them up, these students are put under the mentorship of those people who have offered them the PPO, which means that you have full 1 year to train these students. So when you have that 1 year to train the student and become your job ready, because another major issue that comes with the content that is available online is that the content is available which says campus to corporate. Now the content that you need for engineers is very, very different from the content that you need for salesperson. And those changes, those identification of the correct, unfortunately, our academia is still not there. And that is the reason these problems happen. So just to conclude, all I would say is that academia needs to take a step forward and welcome corporates to support, and corporates need to come forward and take charge, because after all, it is the product that you're getting is your resource. So if you start training them a year before, it is ultimately going to benefit you only. And unfortunately, of course, the students are not present over here. A lot of it actually is dependent on how much is the student focused about their own careers. If they are focused about their own careers, if they don't see that I have paid 7 lakhs or 10 lakhs, तो मुझे तो 15 लाख का job मिल रहा rightful है मेरे लिए, not realizing where I stand, then things would definitely get sorted out gradually. And all the regulatories will definitely start working in our favor. The government will also come up to our support. I feel it is very easy to say government should, and I don't deny that government should not, but I think the buck starts and ends at me. So I should take responsibility of what I can do than what the others should do. So with this, I conclude the session here. Thank you so much, everybody. Anyone has anything to share still?
One last thing, Anjali, from my side. very well summarized on this part. Only one thing is that, as you rightly pointed out, it's me who need to start. So all of us need to come up from the number game. I conducted 11 sessions. I
Absolutely.
conducted 3 sessions. Beyond
Absolutely.
that,
Bang
the
on.
point raised by Bhairavi, the mentoring is the key. Okay, as Gyan said, right? Again, all of us has many things, and together we bring many things.
Absolutely.
As an individual,
Collaboration is the word.
I cannot bring the change. Together, we can bring the change and force government to follow us instead of we waiting for the government to take the stand.
Absolutely. So collaboration is the word. If we all decide to collaborate, everything will be taken care of. So thank you so much. It was really
Thank
a
you.
pleasure interacting
Absolutely.
with all of you.
And thank you, Anjali. And in fact, I was putting this in the chat also. Join planmytrainings.com as a trainer or as a training hiring manager. And together we'll work on this through planmytrainings.com as well. And Miss Anjali, I would also request your students to help us in our next event.
Sure, definitely. Yes. We have our representative right here in the panel. So she's hearing all this and she will make a note of it. Thank you so much. Pleasure interacting with all of you. Thank you.